A snow-white villa perched on a Caribbean cliff, where turquoise waves crash below and the only sounds are ocean winds and acoustic strings. This isn't just a vacation spot, it's Kenny Chesney's sanctuary. But how did a country star from small-town Tennessee end up calling an island paradise home? Today, we dive into his $4 million coastal retreat, his fortune, and the laid-back lifestyle that's become his signature. Before the ocean breezes, the platinum records, and the Caribbean sun, there was a boy growing up in the hills of Luttrell, Tennessee, a place where front porches creaked, football was a way of life, and country music echoed from every old radio dial. Kenny Chesney wasn't born into fame. He was born on March 26, 1968, in Knoxville, to a schoolteacher father and a hairstylist mother, a modest, working-class family with no music legacy, no connections in Nashville. But that didn't stop a dream from growing. Everything changed one Christmas morning. Tearing through wrapping paper, young Kenny found a guitar, his first. He taught himself to play, strumming in the quiet corners of the house, pouring teenage emotions into chords that would later fill stadiums. In high school, he was known more for his football helmet than his voice. But in college, East Tennessee State University, something began to shift. He joined the bluegrass program, sang in bars across Johnson City, and recorded a homemade album titled Good Old Boy at Heart. He sold 1,000 copies, not in stores but hand-to-hand after his sets at smoky clubs. And with that money, he bought himself a better guitar. It was a small step, but one that would carry him all the way to Nashville. After graduating in 1990, he packed his bags, guitar slung over his shoulder, and moved to Music City. Days were long, nights were longer. He played at the iconic Bluebird Cafe, then the Turf, then anywhere they'd let him in. Finally, in 1992, opportunity knocked. He auditioned for Troy Tomlinson of Opryland Music Group and walked out with a songwriting deal. Not long after, he signed with Capricorn Records, and in 1994 released his debut album In My Wildest Dreams. The title was fitting, only 10,000 copies sold, but it was enough. Enough to get noticed. Enough to keep going. When Capricorn shut down its country division, Chesney didn't break. He broke through. He signed with BNA Records and released All I Need to Know in 1995, an album that went gold. Songs like Fall in Love and Grandpa Told Me So introduced a fresh, heartfelt voice to the genre. Then came the platinum years. Me and You, 1996. I Will Stand, 1997. Everywhere We Go, 1999. His songs weren't just playing on the radio. They were becoming the soundtrack to people's lives. In 2002, he released No Shoes, No Shirt, No Problems. The title track became a cultural anthem. Chesney was no longer just a country singer. He was a lifestyle, a vibe, a movement. And he kept riding the wave. With albums like When the Sun Goes Down, Be As You Are, and Lucky Old Sun, he cemented his place as a top-tier performer. His collaborations, with legends like George Strait, Reba McEntire, Tim McGraw, and even PNK, proved his versatility. But fame came with its bruises. In 2008, during a concert in South Carolina, Kenny's foot was crushed by a hydraulic lift just as the show began. Bones shattered, pain unbearable. And yet, he performed the entire concert. No one knew. He didn't cancel the tour. He simply added a doctor to his entourage. That's Kenny. Quiet resilience wrapped in a beach hat and flip-flops. He never chased fame. He let it find him. And when it did, he took it, repackaged it into sun-drenched lyrics and barefoot melodies, and gave it back to the world. And with that success, he didn't build a fortress. He built a retreat, not in Hollywood, not in Beverly Hills, but on a quiet Caribbean island where waves are louder than applause. Villa in Island. At first glance, it looks like a postcard, a whitewashed villa clinging to the lush hillside, the turquoise waters of Coral Bay sparkling below, and palms swaying gently to the rhythm of the trade winds. But this isn't a postcard. This is Kenny Chesney's sanctuary. Tucked away on the island of St. John in the U.S. Virgin Islands, this $4 million coastal estate isn't about showing off. It's about letting go. No red carpets, no paparazzi gates. Just nature, salt air, and the soft hum of peace. The property spans across a prime slice of tropical hillside, oriented perfectly to catch the cool eastern breezes and panoramic views of Coral Bay. The main residence, built with sturdy stone and rich island textures, boasts 3 bedrooms and 3 private bathrooms. Just steps away, a charming wooden guest house offers an additional 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, perfect for hosting family, friends, or the occasional jam session under the stars. Walk inside, and you'll find a kitchen that's both high-end and heartwarming, updated with stainless steel appliances, custom cabinetry, and windows that frame the sea like a painting. Every stone surface tells a story. Every beam feels worn by warmth, salt, and time. The living room opens out to an outdoor patio, where a bubbling jacuzzi sits beside a turquoise pool, surrounded by tropical blooms. There's a shaded barbecue area, al fresco dining, and even a hammock that sways above the bay, as if waiting for the next lyric to be written. But it's not just beautiful, it's personal. This villa isn't just where Kenny lives, it's where he became. It was here, surrounded by sea and silence, that he wrote some of his most laid-back, soul-searching songs. It was here he filmed the How Forever Feels music video, the project that made him fall in love with the island in the first place. He didn't just visit St. John, he absorbed it, adopted it, let it shape him. This wasn't a celebrity escape. It was a spiritual relocation. Kenny wasn't a man running from the spotlight. He was a man swimming towards stillness. But then came the storm. In 2017, Hurricane Irma roared through the Caribbean like a monster, smashing everything in its path. Trees uprooted, homes obliterated, lives fractured. And Kenny's villa didn't escape. His beloved island home was battered, broken, nearly unrecognizable. But instead of mourning it, Kenny made a choice: to fight for it. He used his private jet to fly stranded teenagers to safety, reunited families, and transformed grief into generosity. The ruins of his home became the foundation for something greater, a movement of compassion, rebuilding, and community. But we'll return to that in a moment. For now, let's stay here, on the porch of the villa, where the ocean never stops speaking. Here, Kenny Chesney found more than a place to rest. He found his rhythm, a rhythm of barefoot mornings, sunrise coffee, late-night guitars, and island stillness. A pace of life that money can't buy and fame can't touch. But before he called this coastal haven home, Chesney also owned another masterpiece, one nestled in the Tennessee hills, built with stone, firelight, and grandeur. Estate in Tennessee. Long before waves kissed the walls of his island villa, Kenny Chesney called another place home, one just as breathtaking, but a world apart in feeling. High above the rolling hills of Tennessee, tucked within 56 acres of total privacy, stood a Mediterranean-inspired estate that shimmered like a Tuscan dream. This wasn't just a house, it was a statement. A 12,500-square-foot stone and stucco mansion, built with the kind of detail you only see in architecture magazines. From the outside, it looked like it had been transported from southern Italy. Red clay roof tiles, arched doorways, climbing ivy, and stone courtyards that glowed gold at sunset. But step through the iron and glass front doors, and the real magic begins. The great room, towering ceilings with hand-hewn timber beams. The floors, reclaimed antique hardwoods that whisper of age and elegance. The walls, Venetian plaster kissed with warm amber tones, reflecting the flicker of oversized stone fireplaces. This was a home designed for living and for retreating. To the right, a chef's kitchen with state-of-the-art appliances and double islands, perfect for entertaining. To the left, a sunken living room opening onto a veranda that led straight to the infinity pool, where the water seemed to fall straight into the Tennessee Valley below. There was a movie theater with tiered seating and surround sound, a fully outfitted gym, an elevator connecting all floors, and a backup power system, a subtle reminder that even paradise plans ahead. But the crown jewel? A towering observation turret, an architectural marvel offering 360-degree views of the hills, forests, and open skies. At night, you could almost see the stars pulse to the beat of a country song. Outside, manicured stone walkways snaked through wild gardens and quiet patios, ending at a poolside dining area framed by olive trees and string lights. And the garage? Oh, it wasn't just a garage. It was a dual-section, 10-car dream space, a nod to Kenny's lesser-known love of cars and the subtle luxury he often kept to himself. This wasn't a celebrity mansion with velvet ropes and glass chandeliers. It was warm, rooted, whisper quiet. A home for reflection, not spectacle. It was here that Kenny would come back after tour, shut out the noise, and sit for hours. Barefoot, beer in hand, dog at his side, watching the hills breathe beneath a Tennessee dusk. But even so, as stunning as it was, the estate began to feel too far from the sea, too tied to the machinery of fame. The longer Kenny stayed in St. John, the more the Nashville estate felt like a beautifully wrapped box without the gift inside. Eventually, it was listed for sale, priced at $11.5 million. It wasn't a loss. It was a shift. From grandeur to grounding, from marble to sand, from silence in the hills to music on the wind. And with that transition came a quiet fortune, built not just on talent, but on decades of chart-topping hits, sold-out tours, and the kind of consistency that defines a true legend. It's easy to look at Kenny Chesney and think barefoot, beach-loving, easy-going. But behind that laid-back smile lies a quiet fortune, one built on hard work, relentless touring, and a brand that never stopped evolving. Let's start with the headline. Kenny Chesney's net worth is estimated at $180 million. And it wasn't luck. In the early 2000s, as the music industry struggled with piracy and changing formats, Chesney doubled down on the one thing no one could pirate: live performance. He didn't just tour, he created experiences. From 2002 onward, his stadium tours became annual pilgrimages for fans. In cities like Tampa, Pittsburgh, and Foxborough, tickets sold out in hours. Many shows grossed over $1 million a night, making him one of the highest-paid touring acts, not just in country music but across all genres. But that was just one revenue stream. Album sales? Over 30 million worldwide. Streaming? Billions of plays, especially for hits like American Kids, Don't Blink, and Get Along. Publishing rights? Chesney co-wrote many of his biggest hits, earning ongoing royalties every time a chord is played or a lyric is sung. And then there were endorsements. Kenny Chesney never over-commercialized his image, but when he partnered with brands, they fit his identity. From Corona beer commercials set on the beach to Sirius XM's No Shoes Radio, which gave fans a constant stream of his lifestyle and music. Today, that fortune doesn't scream. It whispers. It hums like a boat drifting over calm waters, like a guitar string tuned just right. And more importantly, it funds something far greater than just houses and headlines. Because when Hurricane Irma tore through Kenny's Island in 2017, he didn't just rebuild for himself, he rebuilt for everyone. Philanthropy. September 2017. The winds howled across the Caribbean, trees cracked like matchsticks, homes vanished beneath the rage of Hurricane Irma, one of the most powerful storms ever recorded in the Atlantic. On the island of St. John, devastation wasn't a headline. It was everywhere. And Kenny Chesney? He wasn't watching from afar. He was right there, heartbroken, grounded, but ready to act. His beloved island villa had been torn apart. Walls crumbled, roofs lifted. But for Kenny, the real loss wasn't brick and mortar. It was the families left with nothing, the communities scattered, the silence after the storm. So he did what few would have imagined. He opened his private jet, not for escape, but for rescue. He used it to fly two teenage boys, stranded and separated from their mother, back into her arms. A reunion born not of privilege, but of love. And that moment was only the beginning. Kenny founded the Love for Love City Foundation, named after St. John's nickname, Love City. Its mission? To provide immediate aid and long-term rebuilding for the Virgin Islands, especially the often overlooked people of St. John. It wasn't just a press release. It was boots on the ground. The foundation delivered food, water, and medicine. It funded school repairs. It helped rebuild clinics, shelters, and essential infrastructure. In a time when St. John was forgotten by the news cycle, Kenny Chesney became one of its loudest advocates, not with speeches, but with action. And when he released his 2018 album Songs for the Saints, he didn't keep a dime. 100% of the proceeds went directly to the foundation. Each song, written in the emotional aftermath of the hurricane, was a tribute, a balm, a beacon of hope. Fans didn't just listen to Kenny's music. They became part of his mission. What makes this story extraordinary isn't just the generosity. It's the intimacy. Chesney didn't just help as a celebrity. He helped as a neighbor. This wasn't a cause chosen for optics. It was a home chosen by heart. And perhaps that explains why, after all the lights, stages, and storms, Kenny Chesney's real peace is found not in applause but in solitude, in the quiet coastal rhythm of personal freedom, personal life. For someone who's sold out stadiums across America, Kenny Chesney lives surprisingly quiet. He's not a tabloid regular. He doesn't chase headlines. And outside the studio or the stage, you'll rarely find him anywhere but near the water. His brief 2005 marriage to actress Renee Zellweger, though heavily covered by the media, ended after just 4 months. And while gossip swirled, Kenny never played into it. No dramatic interviews, no public blame, just a quiet explanation. "I panicked," he once told 60 Minutes. "I didn't understand what being married meant." Since then, he's chosen a different rhythm, a rhythm of solitude, simplicity, sea breezes over spotlights. These days, Chesney lives primarily between his beloved island of St. John and wherever the tour bus parks. But when he's not on the road, he's rarely on the grid. Friends describe him as fiercely loyal but fiercely private. A man who gives his all on stage, then disappears into stillness. His inner circle is tight, his time carefully guarded. He spends his mornings barefoot on the porch, sipping coffee while the waves lap below. Afternoons are for kayaking, paddleboarding, or strumming an old guitar in the shade. And evenings? Often just a quiet sunset, grilled fish, and a cold beer with 1 or 2 close friends. He doesn't own a yacht. He doesn't throw wild parties. His definition of wealth isn't in things. It's in time. Time to write. Time to reflect. Time to breathe. And it's this very lifestyle, stripped of excess, filled with intention, that continues to inspire fans not just to listen to Kenny Chesney, but to live like him. But before we go, let's pause and reflect on what makes this story so powerful. Because behind every million-dollar view, every sold-out show, and every kind act is one simple truth. Some stars shine loud. Kenny Chesney shines quietly, like sunlight on the ocean, like a lyric that lingers long after the song ends. He built a life where fame follows him, not the other way around. where fortune funds kindness, and where the ultimate luxury is peace. So now we ask you, if you could choose any life, fast, loud, or laid back, wouldn't you want to live barefoot with a guitar in one hand and the sea in your soul? If Kenny Chesney's story moved you, hit that like button, share this with someone who dreams of island sunsets, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories of stars who chose to live differently. The music may fade, but the lifestyle, it's forever.